Hello people, what is going on? Welcome back to the channel. This is Sorin and today we're gonna do a tech tree review of the Panzer VII. We're gonna start off at the tier 5 because obviously no one wants to hear about the tier 1 to tier 4. I mean even the tier 5 we can do a slight fast review, starting off at the tier 6 where the really fun really begin all the way to the tier 10. So starting off with the tier 5. Yeah, it is your typical medium tank from tier 5 from Germany. It doesn't have the best armor. I mean, the armor is pretty much non-existent. You have some 80 millimeters somewhere on the front that you can occasionally bounce some HE shells and some AP from smaller caliber tanks and lower tiers. But other than that, you are just a pure support vehicle. The vehicle before used to have before the HE was nerfed or reworked, I suppose to say, the Durkan was actually really fun because you obviously had pretty much like a 6-second or even 6.5-second reload with your normal equipment, and you pretty much just were doing like 200, maybe 150 damage with HE, but right now if you just find the KV1 you're just gonna do like 40, 50 damage, and obviously it's a derp gun. Mostly of the time you won't hit your shells, you cannot snipe, you cannot really defend yourself versus the tier 7, tier 6s, and with 104 millimeters of hit penetration, you don't have the most penetration to penetrate even some side of the tanks, let alone the front. So yeah, the 75mm is a much better option for casual players, but once again the DPM it's for tier 5 and obviously you just want to skip this vehicle. Before, I think I managed to mark this vehicle. Let me actually try to remember it. Let's see the statistics of this. I remember actually marked it with the derp, so I had 215 battles with an average of 50% winner. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That is pure Panzer forward there, and with the, yeah, we managed to mark it with the derp, I think, because it was before the HEs were nerfed, so that was good fun over there. And starting off with some proper heavy tank action, we have the VK3001P. This vehicle used to be a medium, and at the moment it's a heavy, but it's a medium tank because you don't have the most armor. I mean, the turret got buffed. You still have a cupola which can be HE penetrated by KV2 and OY. Artilleries are loving you because you are such a squishy target and doesn't have the most armor. But other than that, the vehicle is quite nimble. You have a really nice power to ratio of around 14. So for a heavy tank you are quite mobile, but obviously you don't have the armor. Those things are easily penetratable frontally. Those chicks over here or whatever those things are, once you angle, those are gonna be a weak point, so you just need to face your enemies. If you face your enemies, you only have 75 milliliters of hull ammo. I mean, you can bounce occasionally with your turret, but you cannot really rely on the armor. So you're pretty much a support heavy tank. You're not a pure heavy. Obviously, it's a tier 6, so you're not a heavy tank at all. But you do have 1100 hit points that you can trade it medium tanks and light tanks, and probably with some tanks as well. You have 8 degrees of gun depression, so the tank is quite flexible with the mobility and stuff like that. But keep in mind, play it as a medium is not a full-blooded heavy. You do have heavy tank hit points, but other than that it is medium. As I mentioned, the 88mm, it's a very nice gun for a tier 6. You have pretty decent DPM of 1900. You have 220 alpha damage, which is decent. Once you get a rammer, your reload drops down to maybe a 5.9 seconds or even 6, which at tier 6 should be enough to keep enemies tracked permanently. So you do have that good enough balance in rate of fire and damage per shot. And on top of that, the penetration is also really nice with 145 or 194 to engage some tier 7 and probably some tier 8s. But with 194, I don't really recommend engaging tier 8s frontally. Your accuracy and gun stabilizations are alright. So the VK3001, it's a decent. I mean, for a tier 6, it's very decent. But personally, if you want to play a full-blooded heavy tank, pick the 36 01H, because that vehicle just has more hit points but is much slower, and you have the armor to boot. I mean, like, literally between those two vehicles, as you see, I have both 67% win it, but because I played this vehicle long ago, I still haven't managed to mark it. I still haven't played it in long time. This is why it's only level 1 as elite, and the same goes to the 3601. I managed to mark it some long ago as well. Yeah, I did manage to mark it, and it was just pure pleasure because the vehicle just has more hit points, and obviously one kilometer now, actually 1 horsepower per ton slower power to ratio, but for that increased armor, I think the VK36 it is the tank that you should keep for tier 6 tournaments. Clan Wars? Do you play Clan Wars? I mean, I don't even know what it's called when you play the tier 6, the tier 8 not campaign. It is something that you have to do with your clan, but skipping on to the tier 7, the Tiger P. The Tiger P, I played it once again when it was pre-buffed version. I kind of enjoyed it. It was just, that bad tank that if you had a good game, like doing 2000 damage, you just feel, oh my god, I feel like I did 10k in a chieftain. So playing it was actually decent. It was just a perfect tank that does the job. This time you actually have some better armor, and keep in mind that this vehicle you need to play it kind of a lot. And why is that? Because it goes towards the VK100, which is a very nice tier 8, and the VK4502A, which at first I thought it's a very bad tank, but now that I managed to play it, I actually find it a decent, and not the best, but it's a decent. Take a look at that in a moment. So the VK, actually the Tiger P, it was buffed. It has a much stronger turret armor. You have much better DPM, I think, and much better gun handling. But the vehicle itself, you have kind of power to weight ratio of a duck, of a snail. But yeah, you really need to use the turbocharger on this one. You have a lot of hit points, 1450. You have 60 degrees of conservation, which is very sad because the Tiger 1 is just so much better in terms of mobility, in terms of the gun handling, in terms of the gun depression, in terms of once again mobility, hit points, DPM. This one is just about forgotten. You have 200 meters of upper plate armor on this part over here, but once again you have those cheeks like on the tier 7 that are just once you side scrape or once you do anything, they are 80 millimeters, which mean they can be penetratable by HE rounds effectively. And I mean tier 8 HE rounds for ISU 152, the Shrek, the KV2 once again, the ONI derp, the OHO derp, and stuff like that. So yeah, the side armor is a large profile, it's 80 millimeters, so yeah. HE rounds, HE EBRs are gonna love you. Everyone that has 80 meters of HE pen are gonna love the side of this vehicle. Artillery as well. But other than that, in terms of the 88mm, it does lack DPM, but you have really nice penetration on your standard rounds. 240 alpha damage for a heavy tank, it's very low, but once you make use of your hit point, it is decent. I mean, the Tiger 1 gets 280 damage per shot, and on top of that you have 370 HE damage, which is just marvelous. This vehicle also have worse rate of fire than the Tiger 1, so it is just it's a worse Tiger 1. The Tiger 1 just doesn't have that tiny touch better armor, but has everything else than this vehicle. So the Tiger P, is it bad? I will not say that is really worse, but it's just it's not for everyone. In terms of my statistics with it, I think I had a 58% win rate, and we managed to 3-mark it as well. I'm really wondering what are the requirements right now for the 3-mark, but other than that, it wasn't. I didn't rage quit when I played it. I mean, I got trigger because the gun handling it was not the best. The 240 alpha damage is annoying when you try to do 2500 damage, But other than that, it was very slow. Whenever you had to get in one flank, you just had to stick on that flank, and you want to make sure that your allies will not clear the way for you. You just had to work your make your way through the enemies so you can do as much damage, tracking, spotting, and as that. I mean, it doesn't have the best spotting range at 370, so you cannot really use coded optics on it effectively. So I mean, the Tiger one is just, as I mentioned, it's just a much better vehicle. But jumping on at the tier 8, the VK4502P and actually VK4502A. And this vehicle stock, I mean, like, this is probably the worst line. Actually, it has the worst tanks in the entire game by just playing them stock. Probably the British heavy tanks have tanks that are the same. They're very bad when they are stock, and very, like, you literally want to check your wallet at wargame and just to skip them and to get the free experience to use to buy the better modules. But once you get them full, they're actually quite decent tanks. But yeah, going back to the VK, it was just really bad because you want to the stock turret just get penetrated by the tier 5. The top turret they require you to buy the tracks. So what I did when I got this vehicle is I put the hardening, improved hardening, and could just skip the tracks. So you want to use the hardening just to skip the 15k for the tracks. So instead I invested the 15k for the turret. Once you get the turret, it is just a very nice turret. I mean, 255, which is flat. You can deflect mostly of the enemies that are firing AP. And on top of that, 390 meters view range. It is just, I mean, it's really decent for 390 meters view range. With coded optics, you can actually do some spotting for yourself as well. But obviously, you just want to use the hardening, rammer, and vertical stabilizer, or just I mean, like, literally, if you got the tracks on, then you might want to drop the hardening for a turbocharger just to get yourself faster, because this vehicle is quite fast. You got 15.67 power to weight ratio, which is very nice for a heavy tank. You can go up to 30 km an hour, so you're quite mobile for a heavy tank, which I really like. Keep in mind that, once again, the same as with this tech tree, your front turreted vehicle and you're gonna be the last front turreted vehicle. So then the fun will end here, because starting with the tier 9 you'll go back turreted, so the playstyle will change. But other than that, the VK with the 105mm just lacks the penetration on AP and APCRs, and the DPM, I will not say that it lacks the DPM with the top turret, because you can go up to 2500 with the rammer, and with I think with Brothers in Arms with 1500. I think that's very decent for a tier 8. So for a tier 8 heavy. So yeah, the vehicle itself, the armor, as I mentioned, the upper plate, it's alright once you manage to angle it. The lower plate is bad, but we want to angle it as well. So you will occasionally bounce something. I'll make a review on this vehicle because I just played recently to skip it to the tier 8, actually to the tier 9, and I'll make a review on the tier 9 as well, and the Panzer 7 once I unlock it. So stay tuned for that as well. So the VK, as I mentioned, it is not the best heavy tank, but once you get used to it, once you get used to front turreted tank, it is much better. I mean, the gun handling is much better than a 53 TP, and turret armor is weaker than the 53 TP, but it has much better hull armor than the 53 TP. So if you're a 53 TP fan, this vehicle you won't mind to check it out. Next, the tier 9. This vehicle is just pile of shit. I mean, it is that E75 is much better than this, but once again, I managed to skip the tracks by just using the hardening. So what you wanna do is just hurry up and get the top turret, because this one is just easily penetratable. Once again, with the same issue with the stock tank, you just can penetrate in the turret. You are slow. You are just I think this one I managed to unlock it by unlocking the Ferdinand. So it's good that once you unlock the Ferdinand, the Tiger P and Mouse C100 and stuff like that, you just have everything unlocked for you, so you can just skip the hard grind towards this line. So yeah, once you unlock the turret, then you are feeling much confident because people are not going to be penetrating you in the turret as reliable. And unlike this vehicle, you actually get 60 on the tier 8, you get 40 meters of turret armor, so you can be overmatchable by any 121 millimeter. On the Russian vehicles are a lot of them and higher, but this one gets 60 millimeters. So the only vehicle that can overmatch your turret forehead, it's the FE 405 and the FE Death Star. So versus AP and hit, actually versus AP, you are Gucci AP and APs here. But back towards this tank's review. The mobility is very slow. Actually, I have it in my garage. Where is it? Select vehicle in the garage. In terms of it, the DPM very low for a tier 9. You have 5 degrees of gun depression. The alpha damage just worse than the 530 that you get on the same gun on the E75. You know, like pretty much you have a E75 turret on your VK. I suppose I should be using the vertical stabilizer because the gun is just so blaming horrible. I mean, actually you have good hit points. You have 200 meters of the upper plate armor. Lower plate armor it's actually pretty weak, but upper plate is good once you manage to angle it. The side armor is 120, so you cannot really angle it that much. You can angle it maximum like that because it's gonna be overmatchable here and not overmatchable, penetrable here. So what you wanna do is just find a corner and just side scrape it out. If you do side scraping, then it's gonna be the best vehicle for you. Other than that, fighting on a ridge line 5 degrees of gun depression is just horrible, horrible, horrible. So the vehicle is not meta as it used to be. On top of that, the top engine is just really weak. It just gets like 10 power to weight ratio, so it's very, very slow. You cannot really move that fast around the map. And on top of that, you have 400 meters view range, which is just fine. I mean, with 400 meters view range, you don't need to worry about coded optics. With food and good crew, you can get it up to 445 easily, so you're not blind. Also, I'll not recommend going for the. I think this is the same gun that you have on the Tiger 2. Actually, no, that's 360. So this over here is just to waste your time and wasting your experience on it, because what you're gonna get is the 128 millimeter, and it is the same as the mouse and the motion, so I skipped it. And last but not least, it is the Pz.Kpfw VII. This is it is a behemoth of a vehicle. You have 120 tons, and the TPM is low. Actually, this vehicle and I believe the entire Tech 3 are gonna be buffed in 2024. You have 560 alpha damage. The penetrations are a bit low, but you're a German vehicle. You can do some sniping with this. I don't really recommend it, but you want to try your chances. 7 degrees of gun depression over the side is so it's decent. It's not the best, it's not the worst. 5 degrees over the front is very bad. The upper plate is very nice, the lower plate is very nice. Big quick point over here and over here. Once you angle, what you wanna do when people are gonna aim for your cheek, you just chuck your front towards them. If you bait them shooting in the lower plate, they're gonna bounce, or probably they're gonna hit this mid plate over here, which is very, very strong. Even though it's very flat, it's very strong. The vehicle is a behemoth. It has 2500 hit points. With harden you can go up to 2700, and once you top it out with fully I forgot the name of what it is, but when you max out the vehicle, you can go up to 2800-ish, 2900 at most. So you have a lot of hit points to trade, and considering you have okay gun, okay hit points, okay armor. You just can play alone, and on top of that, you can be a support vehicle as well. 400 meters view range, it is the same as the tier 9, which once again it should be a problem. On top of that, 33 kilometers an hour top speed with a turbocharger. Once you get it going, you can be quite mobile. And probably if you see someone like a squishy target or even a heavy tank, you can just ram them to do like an extra, maybe have 150 damage. If you're going downhill, whew, boy, you're gonna ram them for maybe like 400, 500. So that's an extra shell for you, making your DPM go slightly above. But other than that, the vehicle itself, it is just it's worse VK Clan Wars tank. That one is just has the 750 alpha damage, the really good hit pen of 350. But other than that, this vehicle can still be effective in the hands of a good player and a beginner player because the armor is forgiving. Don't forget to hide this, and you'll be Gucci. So hopefully I didn't bore you with this all talking, but I just want to make it very quick and very easy for everyone. So this was the tech tree for the Panzerkampfwagen VII. Once I manage to complete the vehicles, I'm gonna make a review then talking about my experience and what you should consider when playing this vehicle. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and I'll see you legends around.